Yo, it's Carcap. I'm going to teach you how to climb to Grandmaster in Marvel Rivals playing Black Panther. For some quick credibility, as far as I can tell, I was the second Panther main to hit GM behind Barracks and peaked at ranked 142 as of today. As a disclaimer, those things aren't as meaningful as some people like to think because the game just came out. What's more important is understanding on a deep level how to succeed as the character and then pushing his meta as far as it can go. Now, real quick, this guide isn't going to cover the bare bones basics of the character. I'm assuming you already know what he does, so we can get right into the stuff that'll turn you from a silver lobby inter to a target band god in diamond and above. If you don't, check out Sumito's guide linked below. And with that, let's get started with the essentials. If you take away nothing else from this video, let it be this list of things that you must understand and apply in every game, no matter what, ordered by importance. Number 1. Your dash, Spirit Rend, is your lifeline. You must not, under almost any circumstances, use this ability unless you know the cooldown is going to be reset. I cannot emphasize this enough, it is the primary difference, above all else, between life and death. There are a few exceptions to this rule. You just spawned, you're retreating to cover or to your supports, ideally both, or, and this is the one you need to be most careful about, you can 100% secure a kill and your team is in a good enough spot during the fight that if you die, you're not throwing. That last one has a lot of nuance, so approach it cautiously. Number 2. Before you can reliably get out of the metal ranks, you need to put in the time to master Panther's mechanics. By mechanics, I mean his combos / cooldown cycling and his movement options. These need to feel like second nature, fully integrated into your muscle memory so you can spend your available brain power tracking game state and making strong decisions, instead of thinking about which buttons to press. Play a lot of matches, practice in the practice range, get your reps in. Finally, once you've implemented the first two, the last thing you must do is coordinate with your team. This sounds obvious, but being good at this is what separates hard-stuck players from climbers. It works best if you're communicating in voice chat, but if you won't do that, then at the very least you need to be watching your teammates and timing your engages with their pressure. To get the best bang for your buck, simply giving a verbal countdown to the moment you choose to jump the enemy backline is extremely helpful and effective. Now that we've covered the essentials, let's get down to brass tacks and talk combos. Black Panther's combos revolve around where in the cooldown cycle you place your E, spinning kick. The standing question is which variation to use. There is a correct answer, and I'll tell you the vast majority of Panthers get it wrong. Let me show you what I mean. The first variation, the one the game tells you to do, and the one most Black Panthers do every single time, involves using spinning kick in the middle of the cycle. It looks like this. Spear dash, spinning kick, dash, spear dash, dash out. In the second variation, you engage with spinning kick, then dash, spear dash twice, and dash out. In the third, you end with spinning kick. Spear dash, spinning kick, dash, dash out. The reason most Panther players get this wrong, other than not knowing the full combo to begin with, is they always do the first variation regardless of the game state. The correct answer is, by and large, probably 70 to 80% of the time, you actually want to do the third variation, situationally using the first two when specific conditions are met. Here's why. You will die during spinning kick. For the most part, it's that simple. The startup is slow, so in the middle of your combo, you will get slept, frozen, nuked, sometimes all three, and you will die. In the metal ranks, this is not such a big issue. Then you climb and notice your inting percentage skyrocket as every mantis and their grandmother is sleeping you for free. The third variation with spinning kick at the end mitigates this by a lot. By prioritizing dashes early on, your movement stays fast and hard to track, and by the time they find you, spinning kick startup is over and you can continue dealing damage or get out with your remaining dash. Very briefly though, there are situations to use the other variations, though they come up less often. I like to initiate with spinning kick when I'm holding a small choke or corner and I know there's a group of enemies close together that I can hit all at once. Then when they're all marked, they become your playground. The vanilla variation comes in handy when you choose to fight or are forced to fight when you don't have both your spears off cooldown yet. In an ideal world, you engage with everything off cooldown, but that's often not the case and you shouldn't stand still during a fight and wait for your spears to come back just because you want to do your moves in the right order. So that covers the bread and butter combos that'll get you through plat, but what about the secret sauce that'll get you to Grandmaster and above? For that, I will teach you a Black Panther move that even other top Panthers don't know, because I made it up myself. First, let's start with combo extensions. You may already know that you can and should weave left clicks in between your abilities. By default, it should look something like this. If you've tried doing this in matches, you may have also noticed some issues getting the opportunity to do this consistently, because the enemies end up too far away. The solution is something I call the the floor dash. It's of course inspired by Genji sharing the goal of trying to shorten your dash such that you end up close enough to deal max damage. In Marvel Rivals though, Spirit Rend glides along the floor pretty aggressively. Floor dashing involves aiming at specific angles to land directly next to a target, no matter how far away they are within 15 meters. I started working on this a few days ago and now use it constantly. It strengthens every aspect of your kill confirms and their consistency, and if you want to stop whiffing so much on Black Panther, practice this technique. When I was developing it, I started in the practice range on the stationary and moving bots, then just started trying it in games and it clicked. It's OP. And that's basically everything to do with Panther's combat mechanics. Let's quickly run through some important tips on movement and positioning. Positioning is a vital macro concept that fits into the even more broad umbrella of decision making, and it could and maybe will be several additional videos. For now, we'll just go over the highlights. For movement, the main two mechanics to become comfortable with are his wall climb and double jump. Mainly, you should aim to use them to fluidly navigate the map and juke enemies. Use your wall climb when you turn corners while being chased. Use your double jump to stay unpredictable. Don't jump too much against hit scan characters like Hela though. When it comes to positioning, the basics boil down to playing where Panther is strong and avoiding where he's weak. Black Panther's strongest positions all revolve around the enemy not seeing you, and ideally, not knowing where you are at all. Take off angles, take high ground, take off angles on high ground. Panther is also superb at holding tight chokes with high ceilings that allow him to fish for spears and dash squishies. Conversely, avoid low ground like the Plague, avoid standing main, and in general, if the enemies can see you, go somewhere they can't. It's okay to take time during a fight to reposition, even if it feels like you're a little AFK. Let's end with an overview of Panther's gameplay loop and then some bonus advice to finish things off. If you're unfamiliar, a character's gameplay loop is just their overall plan during the course of the match that they try to follow to maximize their value. It's crucial to understand your character's gameplay loop because without it, you're more likely to flail and get completely lost during more difficult games. They can all be broken down into a few steps, and then broken down more, but for Panthers it generally looks something like this. Step 1, the most important step, take strong positioning, which we now know how to find. Step 2, pick a target. Abuse the third-person perspective to safely scout and find who you're going to jump. Step 3, wait for the entire enemy team's attention to be taken by something else. This is probably the second most important step. Your best indicator is usually your tank taking aggro, but it can also be as simple as them taking an objective. Step 4, engage. This is where your mechanics come in. Bonus points if you coordinate your dive with your team, or at least let them know what you're doing. Now this is crucial because it ties back to the most important thing I've told you today. If you miss a dash reset, get out immediately. It doesn't matter what you hoped would happen or what you think might happen. If you just live long enough, get out and wait the 8 seconds until it comes back up. Sometimes several times a match, I will miss the very first dash of my engage. I just disengage immediately and start the gameplay loop over again from the beginning. It's not a big deal and is much better than dying instantly. Play your life. Finally, always save a dash or your spinning kick if needed to disengage safely once you've dealt all the damage you can. Fully grasping this loop is not just the key to climbing, but the key to deeply understanding Black Panther and what he can and can't do. Once you do it enough, it'll become second nature and you can start optimizing your gameplay even more. Before we close out, let's cover 2 more quick topics, starting with target priority. Target priority is the seasoning to the sauce of your play, without which your sauce would usually be gross and get you killed. What I mean is, if your timing and mechanics are perfect, but you're diving a tank or a character like Hela or Mantis that has all their cooldowns, you're increasing your risk by a crazy amount. Diving supports is a general good rule of thumb, but for the best target priority, what you're really looking for is squishies with not as much movement who are isolated in some way from their team. That's often the supports in the backline, but it could also be a Hawkeye on the flank or a Punisher lagging behind his team. Finally, let's talk about cheating. Probably not the cheating you're thinking of. What I mean is the positional concepts of staging and cheating. I learned this from Coach Spilo, and even if you don't play Overwatch, he is, in my opinion, the single best educational resource on hero shooters, competitive mindset, a bunch of other stuff. He's the GOAT. The idea behind staging is that before you directly engage the enemy team, you slowly improve your positioning to increase the odds that your engage will succeed, like chess. Cheating is when you don't do this. You jump straight at the enemy from main or wherever you are without any extra consideration, and it's usually the result of laziness or thoughtlessness. If you want to be a disciplined player and increase your risk reward by a crazy amount, always take time to stage before you dive. Alright, we've covered a ton of material today, but figuring out all of this is what got me to GM, and especially considering how early we are, there's no ceiling to how high Panther mains can climb, whether that's eternal or hopefully one above all. There's so much more to say about things like matchups, specific maps, stuff like that, and I wish I could cover everything in one video, but I'm confident if you start implementing this into your gameplay, you'll really start surprising yourself. Quick plug, socials down below, sometimes I stream on Twitch, and good luck!